This is Unit 4, Day 16, and our learning target today is I can solve word problems by writing equations. So in order to do problems like this, we're going to follow the same steps every time. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out what is the question asking us to find. Then we're going to choose a variable, so just choose like what letter you want to use. Write a let statement, so that's saying what does this variable that I'm choosing represent. Then you're going to write an equation that represents the problem, solve your equation, make sure you answer the question. That's kind of like sometimes there might be a second part to the question that you need to go back and answer or something like that. And then check your solution. Now, the nice thing about these type of questions is that our equation is always going to look the same. So it's always going to be a two-step addition equation for the type of problems that we're doing. So it's always going to look something like this. Okay, now the numbers obviously are going to change for different questions and you can change your variable, but that's like the overall format of the equation that we're going to see in the questions that we do. So if we look at our first example, it says your class is going on a trip to the state fair. The trip costs $52. Included in that price is $10 for a concert ticket and the cost of 7 ride tickets. Find the cost of each ride ticket. So the first thing I need to know is what is it asking me to find? So it says that right here in the last sentence. We're trying to find the cost of each ride ticket. So I'm going to say cost of a ride ticket. And then I'm going to choose a variable and I'm going to write a let statement based on what it is that I'm trying to find. So because I'm trying to find the cost of a ride ticket, I'm going to use the variable or the letter R, which would stand for ride. And then I'm going to write a let statement. So that's just going to say let R equal cost of a ride ticket. Okay, so your let statement is basically always going to say whatever it is that you're trying to find. That's what your let statement says. So I'm trying to find the cost of a ride ticket, and my let statement says let R equal the cost of a ride ticket. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to set up my equation. Now remember, we want our equation to look like this one up here. So it's a two-step addition equation. The first thing I'm always going to do is find this number right here, the one that goes with the variable. So R is the cost of a ride ticket. So I'm looking for whichever number is talking about the ride tickets. And that's going to be right here. Okay, it says 7 ride tickets. So I know that the 7 has to go with the R. The next piece I'm going to look for is whatever number is getting added on there. So that could be something else that you're paying for or things like that. So right here it says that that includes $10 for a concert ticket. So I'm going to say plus 10 for the concert ticket. And then I'm going to look for what does it equal. So it says the trip costs $52, so equals 52. So there's my equation. Okay, 7R plus 10 equals 52. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to draw my line here. So remember your layers. Our inner layer would be the 7R, and our outer layer would be the plus 10, and we're peeling off that outer layer first. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. The plus 10 and the minus 10 are going to cancel. So I get 7R equals, and then 52 minus 10 is 42. Now I just have one step left to do. So I've got 7R is 7 times R. So I'm going to divide by 7. The 7s are going to cancel. So I get R equals, and then 42 divided by 7 is 6. So we get R equals 6. So now step 6 says, did we answer the question? We want to make sure we answered the whole question. The question was asking us to find the cost of each ride ticket. We said R is the cost of a ride ticket, and we found R. So yes, we answered the question. Okay, so then step 7 says check your solution. Now this isn't like a formal check. It's just kind of like a quick, does my answer make sense? So we said that a ride ticket costs $6. Okay, so it says we're getting 7 ride tickets. So that would be $42 because 6 times 7 is 42. Plus we have to pay the $10 for the concert ticket. That would come out to $52, which it says that's how much the trip costs. So our answer makes sense that each ride ticket is $6. Okay, so let's look at another example here. So it says Mr. Santino needs a total of 406 forks for his restaurant. He currently has 278 forks. If each set has 12 forks, what's the minimum number of sets of forks he should buy? So first thing is figuring out what is it asking us to find so that we can then write the let statement. So it wants to know what is the minimum number of sets of forks he should buy. So what are we trying to find? Number of sets of forks. Okay, so I'm going to choose a variable and I'm going to write a let statement. So we're looking for the number of sets of forks, so I'm going to say S for sets. So I'll say let S equal number of sets. So now we're going to go ahead and try to write our equation. Now remember, we said our equation is always going to look like this, two-step addition. So the first thing I'm looking for is the number that's going to go with the variable. So we said S is the sets of forks. So we're going to look for whichever number is talking about the sets of forks. And that's going to be right here. It says each set has 12 forks. So I'm going to put the 12 with the S. Then I'm going to look for the number that's getting added. So it says he currently has 278 forks. So plus 278. And then I'm going to look for the number that it equals. And it says a total of 406. So equals 406. So there's our equation. 12s plus 278 equals 406. So now we're going to go ahead and solve it. So let's look at our layers. Inner layer would be the 12s. Outer layer would be the plus 278. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract that 278. So those are going to cancel. I get 12s on this side. And then 406 minus 278 is 128. So now I just have one step left. I'm going to divide both sides by 12. So those cancel. Now, if you type that into your calculator, 128 divided by 12, that doesn't come out to a whole number. So it's going to give you 10.6 repeating. Now, there's two things here. The first thing is this is a multiple choice question, and that's not one of the answer choices, so we know that we're not quite finished. The second thing is just kind of the common sense. What does S stand for? Well, S is the number of sets of forks. So does it make sense that I would buy 10.6 repeating sets of forks? No, I'm either going to buy a set or I'm not, right? I'm not going to buy part of a set. So I've got to think about how many sets would we need to buy. So this is saying the number of sets is 10.6 repeating, which means that he needs 10 sets and he needs part of another set. So he's going to need to buy a whole other set. So we're going to bump this up to 11 sets. Okay, and then check your solution. Well, we can kind of test it out. All right, if he buys 11 sets and each set has 12 forks, then 11 times 12, if you do that on your calculator, is 132. Plus he already has 278. So if I add that on, that's going to give me 410. He needed 406, so we're good. We have enough. Okay, so let's look at our next one here. So it says David purchased 3 shirts that cost an equal price, as well as a hat for $15. If he spent $47.50 shopping, write and solve an equation to find the cost of each shirt. So what am I being asked to find? I'm being asked to find the cost of a shirt. Okay, so I'm going to write my let statement. So I'm going to do S for shirt. Let S equal cost of a shirt. Okay, so remember, your equation is supposed to look like this. All right, so first number you're looking for is the number that goes with your variable. So we said that S is the cost of a shirt, so I'm looking for the number that's talking about the shirts. So if I look, it says that he purchased 3 shirts, so 3S. Okay, then I'm going to look for the number that's getting added. So what else did he buy? Well, he bought a hat for $15, so plus 15. And then the total, was 4750. Okay, so there's our equation. And then you would solve it the same exact way, right? So you would look at your layers and then you would go through and solve. All right, so I'm going to skip over that. It's the same process. All right, so let's look at one more example here. So we'll skip to the last one. So it says Todd orders pictures from a photographer. Each picture costs $7.50. A one-time shipping fee of $3.25 is added to the cost of the order. The total cost of Todd's order before tax is $85.75. How many pictures did Todd order? So let's start with our let statement. So we want to know how many pictures. So let P equal number of pictures. Okay, so why don't you pause the video, you try to come up with the equation, and then press play and see if you've got it set up correctly. So hopefully what you did is we said P is the number of pictures. So you were looking for the number that's talking about the pictures, which is right there. So it says each picture is 750. So I would have 750P plus you got to pay shipping, which is 325. And then the total, so equals 85.75. Okay, so now why don't you pause one more time, try to solve the equation, and then press play and check your answer. So hopefully you've got your inner layer here and then your outer layer. You subtract the 325 from both sides, so those are going to cancel. I get 750p equals 8250, and then your last step should have been to divide both sides by 750. So those cancel, and 8250 divided by 750 would be 11, so you would get 11 pictures. Okay, and that's it for our lesson for today.